When you walk away, that's when they'll feel it. That's when the silence creeps in, deafening, gnawing at them. They don't see it now. Too busy taking, laughing, pretending. But trust me, they're about to learn the hard way. People only see the cracks when the whole damn wall comes crashing down. They won't remember what they took. They won't remember the words they threw like cheap punches to a defenseless kid. No. They'll remember the hole, the missing piece, that itch that never gets scratched. It'll drive them insane. That emptiness you'll leave behind. You see, that's the funny thing about folks, about this whole twisted game they play. They only start counting losses when there's no chance of filling the void. You were their strength, their little secret, even if they never admit it. But the second you're out of the picture, they'll feel it, deeper than a knife twist. They'll realize they traded something irreplaceable for what? Ego? Power? Petty lies? They threw away their foundation, all for the thrill of tearing you down. But here's the punchline, the real joke. When you're finally gone, that's when they'll sit in the dark with all their mistakes, surrounded by shadows that don't whisper, don't comfort. They'll have to look in the mirror and realize you were the only one holding them up. And that's where you win. Not by breaking, but by walking out, standing tall, and never looking back. You leave them with the void, the pain they caused themselves. That's your legacy. The scar they'll never shake. The silence they'll never fill. They thought you'd always be there, didn't they? Thought you'd play the fool, standing by, taking hit after hit, bending over backward. Every little kindness you gave, they chalked it up as weakness. Every piece of yourself you handed over, they took like they were entitled to it, as if it was just their due. But here's the truth they don't want to face. When you're finally out of the picture, it's their lives that'll come undone. See, they never realized it was you holding them together. You, with your patience, your strength, your silence. You took the weight so they wouldn't crumble under it. And they laughed about it, didn't they? Behind your back, they called you naive, soft. But they'll learn soon enough. When you leave, it'll be like the air's been sucked out of their lungs, like the ground's fallen out from under them. They'll sit there, surrounded by everything they thought mattered, and none of it will bring them comfort. None of it will fill the space you left behind. They'll replay every damn word they ever threw at you, every look they gave you when they thought you weren't worth their time. They'll be haunted by everything they can't take back. But here's where it gets good. When they finally see that empty seat where you used to be, it'll hit them like a freight train. They'll try to replace you, you know. They'll bring in other people, try to fill that void with anyone who'll play along. But no one, and I mean no one, will be enough. They'll look at them, and it'll just remind them of what they lost, of what they threw away without a second thought. That's the punishment, my friend. The ghost of you will live in their heads rent-free, every minute, every hour. And the more they try to ignore it, the louder that silence will get. Their heads will be a prison of regrets, of everything they didn't say, of everything they took from you like it was nothing. They won't admit it out loud, of course. Oh no, their pride's too big for that. But they'll feel it deep down, that raw emptiness, and it'll tear them apart. And you'll be out there, breathing free, finally done carrying the weight of people who never appreciated you, people who only saw you as a convenience. You'll walk out of that cage, that prison they tried to build around you with their judgments, their lies. And for the first time, you'll know what it feels like to live without chains. They'll still be stuck in their little web of control, of appearances, drowning in their own games. That's the real joke, isn't it? They thought they were winning, thought they had the upper hand. But the second you turn your back, it's their world that shatters. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. People like that, they think they're untouchable. They think that no matter what, you'll keep showing up, keep sacrificing yourself to keep their world neat and tidy. But you owe them nothing. Not your loyalty, not your forgiveness, and sure as hell not your peace of mind. You walking away, that's their punishment. They'll spend the rest of their lives looking for someone to take your place, someone who can give what you gave. But they won't find it, not in 100 lifetimes. You know why? Because nobody can replicate what you brought to the table. Nobody else has your scars, your resilience, your patience. You were a one-of-a-kind masterpiece in a world that treated you like a throwaway. And that, my friend, that's their tragedy. They'll be surrounded by all the empty things they thought were so important. But without you, it'll mean nothing. Just hollow echoes in an empty room. You might think right now that letting go is the hard part, that leaving will somehow make you weak, like it's a failure. But understand this, walking away is strength, it's power. It's you choosing yourself over people who never deserved you in the first place. You're not abandoning them. They abandoned you the moment they thought they could get by without respecting what you gave. When you leave, it'll feel like freedom, a weight off your shoulders you didn't even know you were carrying. You'll feel light, clear-headed, like you've been given a second chance. And the best part? That's the beginning of their nightmare. Because from that moment on, they'll be living with the shadow of you. They'll hear your name in places they don't expect. They'll see people who remind them of you, and it'll cut them like a knife every single time. They'll be haunted by everything they took for granted. You're giving them a gift, you know, the gift of regret. And it's the one thing they can't throw away, can't deny. It'll follow them to their graves. And you'll walk away without looking back, free of their chains, free of the prison they tried to build around you. You'll rise from the ashes, stronger, wiser, untouchable. Remember this, when you leave, the world opens up for you. It becomes yours to shape, to build on your terms. Their emptiness becomes your opportunity. And if they try to find you, try to get back what they lost, you look them in the eyes and you let them know they had their chance and they blew it. Let them drown in the silence, in the memories of every single thing they lost. That void, that's the space they'll sit in, day after day, while you rise above it all. That's your victory, the sweetest revenge. Knowing that when you're gone, you'll finally matter to them more than you ever did. Because you'll be the one thing they can never get back. See, they're used to playing people like pawns. Move them here, push them there, set them up just to knock them down. You, though, you were different. You were the one thing they couldn't predict, couldn't control. Oh, they tried. They chipped away, wore you down, thought if they kept piling on their garbage, you'd break eventually. But you didn't, did you? No, you stood there, day in, day out. You endured. You took their words, their judgments, all the lies, and you kept going. They didn't understand how you could be so strong, so unbreakable. But strength, real strength, it doesn't come from what you say or how loud you shout. It comes from what you carry and keep going. But that's the part that scares them. Deep down, they know you don't need them. Not a single one of them. It's why they tried to drag you down, keep you under their thumb. You were a mirror they couldn't stand to look at. A reminder of everything they'll never be. And that's why they'll feel it when you leave. They'll feel it in every silent moment, every empty room, every face they pass that isn't yours. They're about to learn that when you cut someone down, you don't just hurt them. You wound yourself. You make a mess you can never clean up. And once you're gone, they'll have no one left to blame, nowhere left to hide. They'll sit there alone with their lies, their excuses, all the times they told themselves they were better than you. And it'll eat them alive. Let me tell you something. Regret is a funny thing. It doesn't just show up, take a bow, and leave. No, it digs in, takes root. It becomes part of you, part of your mind, your heart, your bones. And that's the beauty of it. Because the same people who tried to break you will end up broken by the absence of you. They'll choke on the silence, on the void they created with their own hands. The silence will be deafening, and they'll never be able to fill it. Think about that for a second. Think about the irony. The ones who thought you'd be nothing without them, will find themselves lost without you. That's justice, isn't it? True, raw justice. You don't need to fight, don't need to scream, don't need to stoop to their level. All you gotta do is walk away. That's it. Let them deal with the aftermath. People like that, they're parasites. They latch on, drain you of everything you have, and then discard you like an empty shell. But what they don't realize is that they've been feeding off you for so long, they don't know how to live without you. They'll learn real quick that a parasite without a host doesn't last long. Their whole existence will start unraveling the minute you're gone. And while they're falling apart, scrambling, clutching at anything to keep them afloat, you'll be out there, free. Free from their games, their lies, their endless toxic need to control. You'll finally be able to breathe without that weight on your back, without that constant fear of being stabbed by the very people you once trusted. You know what else? They'll try to replace you. Oh yeah. They'll scramble looking for someone, anyone, to take your place, to fill that space. But every single time, they'll come up empty. Because there's only one of you. One. And you, my friend, you're unforgettable. They'll find people who try to fill your shoes, but none of them will ever be you. And every day that passes, every poor imitation they surround themselves with will just remind them of how good they had it, how they messed up, how they lost something rare. It'll haunt them in the quiet moments, in the dead of night, when there's no one around, and all they've got is their own regret whispering in their ears. That's their fate. That's the punishment they handed themselves on a silver platter. So don't you dare look back. Don't you dare feel sorry for them. They made this bed. Now let them rot in it. They took your kindness for weakness, your loyalty for granted. They thought you'd stick around no matter how much they tore you apart. But now it's your time to walk, your time to rise above. They'll tell themselves lies to cope, to make sense of the emptiness, but deep down, they'll know. They'll know they pushed you too far, that they took something real, something rare, and smashed it just because they could. That'll be their truth. And it'll cut deeper than anything they ever did to you. But you'll keep moving forward. You'll take every scar, every wound, every lesson, and you'll build yourself into something stronger than they could ever imagine. You'll be the phoenix rising from the ashes, untouchable, unstoppable. And every time they see you, every time they hear your name, it'll remind them of what they lost and what they can never get back. That's the real revenge. Not some grand explosion, not some big showdown. No, the real revenge is living, moving on, becoming everything they thought you couldn't be. They'll be stuck, chained to their regrets, haunted by their choices, while you soar above it all, free and unfazed. When you leave, They'll see the void they created. They'll feel it every single day, and it'll be a wound that never heals. That's the power you hold, the strength you carry. So go, walk out, and don't look back. Let them live with the emptiness they brought upon themselves. And remember, you owe them nothing but the memory of everything they threw away. You see, they thought they'd broken you, thought they'd torn you down to the point you couldn't even stand on your own. That's what they wanted, deep down. A puppet. Someone who'd dance to their tune, who'd take every word they threw, every little jab, and still stand there, smiling, loyal, waiting for a crumb of their approval. But that's where they messed up, because people like us, we don't break. Not really. We bend, we hurt, we bleed, but we don't shatter. They'll tell themselves that you're the one who's weak, the one who's broken. But the real joke, they're projecting. They're the fragile ones, the scared ones, hiding behind masks of control and power. They walk around pretending like they're untouchable, but the second things don't go their way, they fall apart. And you leaving, that's the one thing they never prepared for. They'll be lost without you, and they'll know it. Oh, they'll never admit it, of course. No, they'll pretend they're fine. Pretend that losing you didn't affect them. They'll go out of their way to show the world how okay they are, how much better off they are without you. But it'll all be for show. Behind closed doors, when no one's watching, they'll be drowning in their own emptiness, choked by their own regrets. They'll look in the mirror and see the cracks you used to hold together with every ounce of your patience, every bit of your loyalty. And now they've got nothing, just their own face staring back at them, reminding them of every time they put you down, every time they took you for granted, and it'll eat them alive. You know why that happens, right? Because people like them, they're cowards. They can't face the truth about themselves, so they tear down everyone around them. They surround themselves with people they can control, people they think are beneath them, because it makes them feel better. It makes them feel big, powerful. But without someone like you, they're nothing. Just empty, scared little people hiding behind their own lies. And while they sit there, wallowing in their misery, trying to piece together a life without you, you'll be out there living, really living, free from all their poison, all their bitterness. You'll be building yourself up, stronger, smarter, wiser. You'll find out what it means to stand on your own without their shadow hanging over you, without their claws digging into your back. And that's the part that'll kill them. Not that you left, but that you thrived, that you walked away, and instead of crumbling, you soared. Every step you take will be like salt in the wound, a reminder of everything they'll never be able to have again, because they don't deserve it. They don't deserve you. People like that, they don't change. They don't wake up one day and suddenly realize they were wrong. No, they'll carry on blaming the world, blaming everyone else, never taking responsibility. But every so often, late at night when they're all alone, a little voice will whisper in their ear, reminding them of you, reminding them of everything they threw away. That's the funny thing about regrets. They don't go away. They linger, festering, eating you alive from the inside. And the more you try to ignore them, the louder they get. They'll try to drown it out, try to fill that void with anything they can get their hands on. People, money, distractions. But nothing will fill the space you left behind. You'll be untouchable, free from their games, their lies, their manipulation. You'll learn to value yourself, to see your own worth. And once you've tasted that kind of freedom, there's no going back. You'll never let anyone treat you like that again. Never let anyone dim your light to make themselves feel better. You'll be too strong for that. And they'll know it. They'll see it. Every time your name comes up, every time they hear about you, it'll be like a slap in the face. A reminder of everything they could have had if they hadn't been so blinded by their own ego. They'll remember the person they could have leaned on, the person they could have trusted, but it'll be too late. They'll have to live with that choice, with the knowledge that they lost someone who was irreplaceable. That's the power you hold, right there. You walking away is their punishment, their reckoning. You're giving them the one thing they can't escape, the truth. And no matter how much they run, how much they try to distract themselves, it'll always catch up to them. Because deep down, they know. They know they pushed away the one person who truly cared, who truly understood them. And that's a wound that'll never heal. So walk away. Don't look back. Don't give them the satisfaction of a single regret. They don't deserve your pain, your tears. They deserve nothing from you. Not even a glance over your shoulder. Leave them with their emptiness, with the silence they created. And remember this, every step you take is a step towards freedom, towards the life you deserve. They'll be stuck in their own personal hell, chained to the past, haunted by the ghost of you. And you'll be out there, free, unstoppable, unbreakable. Imagine that look on their faces every single time they realize they've got no one left to blame. The world won't be as pretty without you there to carry their load. No one left to play their scapegoat. They'll try to point fingers, try to pass the guilt onto anyone who will listen. But no one will be there. Nobody to catch them when they slip. They'll think back on all the times they took you for granted, all the times they pushed you aside like you were nothing but a pawn on their little chessboard. But now Now they're realizing that the game doesn't go on without you. See, they never understood that you were the one holding the whole thing together. Without you, their empire's just a house of cards, ready to topple at the first gust of reality. And that's what they'll hate most, the reality. That they weren't as strong, as untouchable, as they thought they were, because they were drawing from your strength, from the fire inside you. They were feeding off your loyalty, your dedication, your energy, and now that you're gone, they're running on empty. Nothing left but that void you left behind. And every single day it'll get a little harder to ignore. The beauty of it all is that you don't have to lift a finger for this. You don't need revenge. You don't need to fight back or prove anything. The moment you walk out that door, you've already won. Their downfall? It's built into the choice they made to let you go, to push you away. You were their safety net, the one thing that made them feel invincible. But they cut it. They severed the very thing keeping them afloat. And when they're spiraling down, clawing at the walls of their own mess, they'll finally see the truth they tried to hide from. You were never the weak one. They were. They needed you to feel powerful, to feel important, to feel like they mattered. And now they're left with the one thing they fear most, themselves. They'll scramble, trying to fill the gap, trying to replace you with people, with things, with lies they tell themselves just to get through the day. But nothing will ever come close. No one will ever fit that space the way you did. And every single attempt they make will just deepen the wound. Remind them that they lost something rare, something they can never get back. They'll wake up in the middle of the night, gasping for air, drowning in that emptiness. And for a moment, they'll reach out. Instinct, you know? They'll reach out for you, thinking you're still there, like you always were, waiting to pick up the pieces. But then reality will hit, and they'll realize you're gone. Really, truly gone. And that's when the pain will start. That deep, gnawing ache that won't go away, no matter how much they try to bury it. See, regret, it's not just a passing thing. It's a poison. It gets into your veins, into your bones, and it eats you alive from the inside. And the more you try to ignore it, the stronger it gets, the harder it digs in. They'll feel it every day, in every quiet moment, in every corner of their mind they thought they had under control. You'll become their ghost, haunting them, reminding them of everything they threw away, everything they lost because of their own arrogance. They'll put on a brave face, tell the world they're fine, tell everyone they're better off without you. But that's all it'll be, a face, a mask. Underneath, they'll be crumbling piece by piece. And no one will see it, no one will hear it, but they'll feel it every single day. They'll feel the weight of that choice pressing down on them, dragging them down. And there'll be no escape. No one to lean on, no one to blame. Just them and the consequences of their own actions. And as for you, you'll be out there, free from all of it, free from the lies, the manipulation, the endless games. You'll be building something real, something true, something that can't be touched by their pettiness, their insecurities. You'll be living, really living, while they're stuck in their own little prison, trapped by the very walls they built around themselves. They'll try to convince themselves that they don't need you, that they're better off without you. But deep down, they'll know it's a lie. They'll feel it every day, in every hollow smile, in every forced laugh. They'll know that they lost the one person who truly saw them, truly understood them. And that loss, it'll be a wound that never heals. So don't waste another second on them. Don't waste another thought, another tear. Walk away and let them deal with the emptiness they created. Let them live with the ghost of you, the reminder of everything they'll never have again. You owe them nothing. Not your anger, not your sadness, not your regret. You owe them silence, absence, a life lived without them. And every time you take a step forward, every time you laugh, every time you find joy, you'll be proving them wrong. You'll be showing them that they were never the ones who defined you, who made you who you are. You'll be showing them that you are stronger, better, freer without them. That's the beauty of it. That's the justice. You don't need revenge. You don't need to stoop to their level. All you need to do is walk away and live. Because in the end, they'll be the ones haunted by what they lost, by the void they created. And you'll be unstoppable. So go, walk out that door. Leave them to their ghosts, their regrets, their emptiness. They'll look for you in every face, every shadow, every quiet moment. But they'll never find you. Not again. They'll finally see the void they created. And it'll be a wound that never heals. That's your victory. That's your freedom.